Hey everyone, Ron here, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank all of our listeners for all of their support so far. And I wanted to let you know too that we're going to be starting to release episodes every Tuesday, so be sure to pick them up on your favorite podcast platform. And with that, we've got a special episode today. This is to really kind of honor the Bills and what they did this past week with their victory over the Ravens. So with that, we'll get started.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of Between Two Studs. I'm Alex Stud.
And I'm Ron Stud.
And, we have a lot to talk about, Ron. I mean, when this airs, It'll be, about a half a week since the Buffalo Bills made it to the AFC Championship game.
Yeah, I think, don't get me wrong, we love the Bills, but this has been an amazing year to watch this team. We've been really happy. I'm glad we got out the first Bills episode. I'm also happy, too, that a lot of people who aren't fans of the Bills seem to receive it pretty well.
Well, I was going to say, normally we had that episode where we talked exclusively about the Buffalo Bills. And then I anticipated that we would probably not talk about them again for a long time because I guess maybe my expectations were I'm a Bills fan. I'm a realist. I didn't expect them to keep winning. So here we are, a few weeks down the road, and they're 2 games away from winning the Super Bowl.
That, I think, is amazing in and of its own right. And I think because of that, let's do a special episode.
Well,
what do you say?
I think so. And I think we have the perfect guest to talk. We're talking about a Western NYer. We're talking about someone who is still living in the promised land that you and I have left. So they can tell us all about what's going on. What's the excitement and energy like out there in Western NYer? Today we have Eric Thomas to the episode. So welcome.
Hello.
Welcome, Eric.
What's up, guys?
Not too much. Happy to have you on.
Happy to be here.
Eric, why don't we jump right in this and get to know you a little bit? How do you know us? How do you know me?
When I was living down in Austin, I met you at a Bills backers bar, as us transplants often do. I don't know, what year was that, Alex? I know it was the year the Bills broke the drought, I think.
It was 2017.
Okay.
That was my first year in Austin. I was brand new. I didn't know anybody.
Yeah. Drought-breaking year. You're my good luck charm. Ever since I met you, it's all been uphill for them,
I think so. I think the Bills have been, I don't know, they've been pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, nothing beats this year, but drought-breaking year. Tyrod Taylor.
There you go.
That was the meeting point for sure.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, even kind of what got you into the fandom of being a Bills fan.
I'd like to say I was born and raised in Buffalo, but actually I was born in Michigan because my parents who are from Buffalo area, both from Depew. My dad was in the Air Force. So when I was born, I was in Michigan for like 10 months before they moved back to Buffalo, actually. So in my blood, obviously, huge Bills fan, have the Bills tattoo, all that stuff. I'm big in the kitchen, love to cook. I love wine. I'm an amateur wino. No, I'm a professional wino, amateur sommelier, I guess. So I'm in the kitchen every day making meals, pairing wines with those meals. Me and my wife love to travel. We're big into Italy. That's like
I was going to say, I forgot you've been to wine country in Italy twice now, right?
Yeah. Well, we've been to Italy twice, two different spots. Spent the first time there mostly in Tuscany and a little bit in Bologna, and then second time we did more of the Rome Amalfi Coast trip. We had a trip planned there this past September, but that got canceled along with like 5 or 6 other trips, one including your wedding, Alex. So it's been a year of canceled trips, and it's been disappointing for us, especially we don't have kids yet. So, this was kind of the year to get all those trips in potentially before having a kid, but I'll keep pushing that back.
Why Italy so many times? I mean, do you in particular like Italian wine or is it just you like the country?
We went on our honeymoon and, I always had interest in it. Kara, my wife, she's traveled all the time. She's been all over Europe, but I've never been. And I just instantly fell in love with it, and way more than I expected to. And I think she had a renewed love with it as well. And we've just decided we want to keep going back. Our long-term goal is to have a property there and be able to travel there, 2 or 3 times a year for a few months at a time. So we just fell in love with it, and I fell in love with Italian. I've always been into wine, but I had a greater appreciation for it after going there. Kind of happened organically. I never planned to be like, oh yeah, Italy's my place. It's just happened to. We were originally going to do France and Italy, and then the timing didn't work out, so we just did Italy on its own and never looked back.
Well, there you go. Well, so speaking of wine, what are you drinking right now?
I'm not drinking wine right now. I think the answer you want to hear is margarita, but I finished my 2 and I didn't want to have a third. That's a little much on a Monday. I'm drinking a Pilsner or Kel, actually. So my wife loves Pilsners, so we have them in the fridge. Thought an IPA would be too heavy right now, so there we go.
There you go.
Nothing that interesting. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's all good. We encourage our interviewees to have a drink. We're having a drink as well. I'm having Bullet Rye. Actually, no, just Bullet Bourbon, not Rye tonight. And what are you having, Alex?
I am having a rye. I'm having a Chattanooga whiskey rye. Nice. My first time having it. It's actually pretty good. Hey, so Eric, final question of the fire round, which is not a fire round at all. Is there a piece of art, and it could be even something like a song or a movie or a book, anything that speaks to you, represents you? Tell us about something.
This is like a bad job interview question that you're going to blow.
Yes, exactly.
We'll all judge you silently.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
I'm going to go with Back to the Future trilogy.
Really? The whole trilogy?
Just hear me out on it. I mean, the first one is my favorite, but as a whole, I'm a big 80s guy. I don't know, big into 80s music, movies, big John Hughes guy, all that stuff. So Back to the Future, just being an 80s movie, I love, but I'm big on nostalgia, which is like a huge part of that movie. I'm big on the idea of fate and how changing one thing in the past could totally alter everything in the future. Trump getting the bills, not being president, that kind of thing.
I love that answer.
So yeah, and I say the whole trilogy because I do love the whole thing, and I love the one quote at the end of the third one when, I don't know how much you guys know the movies.
Oh no, I love all three of them, but most people I speak with, I feel like they hate the third one. They're like, the country western, 1895. I like it.
But, it ties everything at the end. At the end when the train Doc Brown flies in on his time machine train and crushes a car, he ties everything together. It's basically like saying your future is not written, so go live your life kind of thing. And I like that, your future is whatever you make of it. So for me, it's kind of like looking in the past and looking forward to the future. It's just, I feel like in my life currently, especially with COVID, maybe it makes me think a lot about what I'm doing with my life, where I want to go with my life, what I've done in the past. It's good time to reflect. So I think like that whole movie is kind of about that, or the whole trilogy in a way is kind of self-reflection, looking to the past, going towards the future. So I don't know.
That's cool. I got to say, at least once a week, and don't ask me why, at least once a week, I'll just blurt out, where we're going, we don't need roads.
Great quote.
I don't know why I say it, but I do. You can ask Hannah, my wife. She's at least once a week. I just blurt that out of nowhere.
Love it.
Poor Hannah. She's asking you a question like, what do you want to order for dinner tonight? We're going, we don't need roads. Well, Alex, I'm asking for something legitimate.
Well, you should talk to my wife whenever we park somewhere and we're far. I'll bust out the Indiana Jones quote. We walk from here every time.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, good response. And now that you're back in Western New York, outside of the University of Texas Stadium and the Tower, what do you miss? What do you miss about Texas?
Right now, the weather, not right now exactly, but my favorite times in Texas were like February through April, May, when the weather there is perfect and you're looking back at your family and friends in Buffalo and it's cold and rainy still. Random snow in April and you're like, suckers. Don't miss in the summer. My air conditioning stopped working in my car like the last year there in the summer, and it was just like driving home. I would literally have a sweat stain from my seatbelt down my chest and around every day when I got home. Is that
why you got your moped?
It was a motorcycle at that time, Alex. I think when I met you, my scooter was stolen or soon after.
Oh, that's right. It was a motorcycle.
Yeah, no, I eventually got a motorcycle. No, that's not why. I just wanted to do it one more time before knowing I'd probably be up here and never get one again. And it's fun and it's a different way to quicker transportation in my mind. But Austin was great. I love the diversity of Austin. The food's great. Obviously, Buffalo food's great in its own right. So like when I was in Austin, of course, I missed the food up here. And now I miss the barbecue, the Mexican food, all that stuff. So pros and cons. I mean, for my wife and I being kidless, we really miss Austin. We really miss the different stuff you can do. We're big into dog. We have a dog and like the dog friendliness of Austin places compared to here. We would take our dog everywhere. Breweries.
Dogs are an accessory item.
Yeah.
In Austin. I mean, you took your dogs to the barber shop. You took your dogs to the bar. I mean, it was crazy.
We took our dog to the Bills Backers bar. I mean, you were there.
Yeah.
Our dog with us. Yeah, sitting in the booth. Like, we love that. You just don't have that here at all, which is fine. But we miss a lot of stuff about it. I think once we have kids, we'll feel more at home here. We do feel at home here. Our families are here, but so, pros and cons. I think if our families weren't here, we probably wouldn't be back here, obviously.
So, Eric, back to your creative side, what are some techniques or strategies that you see organizations use that you either admire or are just really cringeworthy?
That's tough. You can blame the organization that's coming out with it, but in the end, from an ad agency perspective, you got to do what the client wants, right? I can tell you some strategies internally that I disagree with ad agencies about, if that helps. But if you want to hear more visual stuff, that's another thing.
I'm good with either, honestly. I think what's kind of interesting is we're all consumers of all of the different ad content.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the question is, to the uninitiated, what are the things that really, being somebody on the inside, that just drive you nuts when you're like, oh, geez, they went for that? I can't believe that.
I think, and I'm guilty of this with some of my clients, using stock imagery and video to excess. One of my favorite things I've seen is I think it's Grubhub, where they're commercials where they're using stock video, and it kind of looks like one of those pill commercials. Mm-hmm. And they keep saying Grubhub over and again and like cutting to it, but it's kind of mocking that look of like the old people on the bikes and all that stuff. I love the mocking of the conventional, like, boring stock imagery use that I use in a bunch of clients because that's what they want, and they don't want to pay for original photography or original video. And during the pandemic, especially, it's tough to get people together for commercials, all that sort of stuff. So I get it to a point, but the excessive use of it really makes, from my side, because I'll go on and be searching for images or video and see stuff that I've seen out there already, and it's lack of originality there. That is kind of, for me, a little much, but I get it. People have budgets. People don't want to pay X amount for original content a lot of times.
And do you think that the organizations that are paying for that, for them, is it something where they're maybe cognizant of that, or they're just kind of like, whatever, people don't care?
Well, they are. I have a client, and I won't name names, but they're pretty nationally known. You're down in Atlanta, so you would definitely know them. I would definitely say names. We have a few clients in Atlanta, so they're so cognizant of it that they are. It's funny how anal they are about the stock photography. Like, you have to give them options. They will really, really get into the detail of every stock photo you send them. And like, I spend hours looking at random stock photos. So I feel like they want you to find something different, but in the end, it's a stock photo that everyone has access to and they can buy if they want to. So they are and they aren't. Like, they think they can find original stuff out there when it's obviously stuff that people can get. So it's interesting, but in the end, it's like for something like an email header. So it's something that you or I as a consumer may never have even open. So it's not like I think when it comes to like a bigger project like that'll be seen nationally, like a commercial and all that stuff, I think they're definitely more into the original content stuff. But for like the one-offs like that, but then the amount of billable hours I spend looking for stock photos, to me, is really funny and kind of like, why are you spending money on this? But I don't run a company, and
do you know, Eric? Because I have no idea. Like, there are entire businesses that are just filming and taking photos for these stock images.
I think for the most part, it's individuals. Like your freelance photographers and videographers that they'll put together. It's funny. I see a lot of the same cast members in a lot of these different videos and
all
images.
the time. I'm like, I've seen that guy before.
Yeah, that old guy and that old woman. They're like, they've done it all. They've traveled to Asia. They've had Christmas morning with with their adopted kids. Like, it's it's funny, but that and those are the stuff that comes up more frequently. And I think for them, I don't know if That's a good question. I actually don't know if it's like a company that's like, okay, I have X amount of photographers that go and do this for me, if it's more individuals. I think it's a little bit of both. Because some of the production values on this stuff is nuts. And then they sell it. But so I could see that being more of a company versus an individual base. But I know in my agency, we have a stock photo of the day, because we're out there searching all the time. And some of the photos that come up are really ridiculous. So we'll have like the funny stock photo of the day contest every day.
Now I'm just super curious to I'm going to have to learn and report back on the stock photo industry. The whole idea of it is fascinating to me in a way, because it's like you could have the same person being used for opposing campaigns, right? Completely separate messages. And it's like, oh yeah, same guy. And I want to know how you become a stock photo model. I assume you can't be too good looking, right? Because then you're going to be distracting. But you can't be so hideous that you're going to scare people. You need like middle of the rung, like perfect bellwether, right in the middle.
There's both out there. I've seen very attractive and very what the hell's going on here. So it's all out there.
I feel like it's asking for somebody to do they just take a bunch of these stock photos and just fabricate this whole story about somebody who's not even really, it's not real, but based off of all these campaigns. It would be a hilarious documentary or something to watch.
I remember, this is probably 5 years back or something, like someone came out with like this, it wasn't a long form thing. It was probably like a 5-minute just using stock video and like made this like amazing story. It was like a patriotic type story using all this stuff. And it was just all stock photo and anything they found. And it was beautiful and well done, but it was just showing like what you could do with it. So there's this, definitely has its merits, but I think for me, as being on the inside, it's something that irks me a bit from time to time. But it also makes my job easier too. I don't have to go out and find photographers or do it myself and cast it and all that. So double-edged sword.
Hey, Eric, speaking of beautiful,
yes,
I want to switch topics.
Please do.
Buffalo Bills are in the AFC Championship game for the first time since 1993. I was 2 years old.
Yeah.
Right now, Ron and I are, separated. I'm in Chicago. He's in Atlanta. We're seeing videos about, the players flying back, and there's thousands of fans at the airport waiting for them. But, you're living it. Like, tell us what's going on right now in Western New York.
I'm living it, but I'm also responsibly living it during a pandemic. So I'm not out there experiencing it the way I would love to be. But that being said, there is certainly an energy about town, regardless. The beeping, like I was going to my parents' house the other week right before a game, and there's people outside tailgating. I'm beeping the whole way. Everyone's yelling back. After the wins of last week and this week, like you go outside, there's fireworks going off. You can hear screams all around you from all the different watch parties. I think there's a certain sense of community in the people you can get together with. Like we've kept a pretty tight bubble, my family and I. So it's really just, my parents, my sisters and their kids and stuff watching these games together, which unfortunately I miss watching it with my friends. But I think the sense of togetherness with the pod you guys have currently during this weird time, it's almost made it a little bit more special because like you're experiencing it through the game. And then we all talk about it, on Twitter and social media and chats and all that stuff. It's amazing. I feel like it's still a dream myself.
I wanted to get your take, Eric, because I've been having mixed feelings, since Saturday night when we realized they were going to the AFC Championship game. And I was thinking to myself, what if this is the year? Like, what if this is the year they win the Super Bowl? Do we feel a little cheated? Like, hey, if they were going to win, why did it have to be the year that we couldn't be all out and celebrating with everybody and high-fiving and hugging strangers? Like, do you feel if this is the year, if this ends up being the year we win it all, that there'll be that, like, you know what? Like, it's always great to win a Super Bowl, but why did it have to be this year?
I used to think that, and there will be a part of that. But I think just doing it will, you'll look back on it, and I don't know if we'll remember the pandemic part, or if it'll just be, holy shit, we won the Super Bowl. Like, I'm just so amped to possibly win it. Yes, it will suck to not be able to, like, the parade won't be the same if they even have a parade. I'm telling you right now what I'm looking forward to. Regardless how this season ends, the party that will be the home opener next year, that'll be our party.
Oh my goodness.
That'll be that'll be our hug strangers, let's go moment, I think. And I'm there. I'm there for sure. That'll be it. If we can't do, even win or lose this next game or a Super Bowl, like, I think everyone's going to just, like, let it all out there for sure.
What is your take for this upcoming weekend against the Chiefs? Are you feeling good? Are you nervous?
I'm not nervous. I always saw this game coming. Like, this was the game. This is what I wanted, I think. This is – I think it was always meant to be Bills Chiefs AFC Championship since, I've been wanting this game since we last played them. I was like, see you there. I'm not nervous. It's almost like playing with house money for me, because I think for me, my goal this year with this team was win a playoff game, get a home playoff game and win it. And they did that. And then they won the next game. And yeah, it'll be disappointing if they don't make it all the way. But, in no way will I'll be upset, but I won't be upset, if that makes sense.
Well, it's funny you say that, because I actually had that conversation recently with Ron, where I said, this is the third time they've made the playoffs since 2017, which we talked about earlier. And the first two times, I just was happy the Bills made it. Like, I didn't care if they won that game, that wild game. It was just like they made the playoffs. And this was the first year where I was like, no, I expect
a little bit more. Yeah.
I expect a win. And then not only did I get a win, I got a second win. And now it's like, oh my, like we're 2 games away.
Yeah, we've had second course. We kind of want the dessert.
Yeah.
We want to have what's good.
Yeah.
And what's great though, and Alex and I talked about this too in our one special, was that I feel like this team is not built just for a single season.
Oh, that's the beauty.
They've really built, and just seeing like Josh Allen's growth, seeing the way that Stephon Diggs has come on and really just complimented Allen, it seems like we were in a really good place as a team long term.
Absolutely. And now Dable is sticking around another year. Like, we got some time here. We're playing what is the Chiefs 23-2 in the last 25 games or something? Maybe even 23-1. I don't even
something crazy.
Yeah. So it's no, you lose to the Chiefs, you're losing to the best, in my opinion. And there's nothing to be ashamed of. I think we have a good chance in this game. I was thinking about this. We had Allen was kind of down last time we played him. Milano wasn't in there. Edmonds was still dealing with a shoulder injury. He was kind of half in there. I saw a stat today that when Milano's in the lineup, we're undefeated this year, 13-0. We're 0-3 without him. So
it is a completely different team than whatever that was, week 7, I think. Totally different.
And to be fair too, like that week was also really weird. That was where we fought the Titans before, and then we went to the Chiefs, and it was like, it wasn't because of what was going on with the NFL. There was not certainty as to whether or not we were even going to play the game with the Titans or not. And going in, it was like, McDermott basically got set up with, okay, how do you as a head coach, figure out how you're going to come up with 2 different strategies for teams that you're possibly maybe going to face within that same week?
Yeah. Monday 5:00 game. That's strange. Moved from the Thursday before. Yeah, that was just it was.
And I think too, feel free to weigh in, either of you, but I like that there was commentary on Saturday night that was talking about how the Bills as a team definitely adapt to the teams that they're playing. You can definitely see a difference in the strategy that both the offense and defense bring to the table with each team. There isn't a same formula that they apply each game.
You have to give huge kudos to Leslie Frazier for the way the defense played on Saturday night and keeping Lamar relatively in check through the 3 quarters he played. It was a totally different defense than what had been played against the Colts, for example.
Yeah, that was you saw 4-3 out there almost every play. When's the last time you saw that? Like, their base is usually nickel defense, and we saw the 3 linebackers out there. They couldn't get anything going. It was
it was impressive. Hey, so Eric, fun question, because Ron and I definitely both have superstitions for our games. Do you have a superstition?
Yeah, I mostly with what I wear.
Same.
I've been wearing.
Talk to us about it.
I've been wearing the same stuff every week since I think I won't wear anything that I wore the Hail Murray game. So I remember that. So I haven't been wearing anything from there. I got like a rotation of 3 pairs of Bills socks, but the past 3 times I've been wearing the same 3 because playoff. Now I'm on playoff mode like outfit. So I wore the same hoodie the last 2 weeks, same undershirt. My underwear has to have a Bills color and blue or red, but can't have this color of the other team in it. So weird.
You might think this is kind of gross, but I've been wearing the same red Josh Allen jersey the entire season. Actually, no, I missed it for 2 weeks, and those were 2 of the losses. Oh. So I've worn the red jersey every single week, and the only one that they lost was the Hail Murray game. That was the only one that they lost, and I feel like they really should have won that one. So I have to wear this jersey, but this is the part that might gross you out. I haven't washed it since the beginning of the season.
How much wing sauce you got on that?
Oh, there's a lot of gross food on it, but I take it off after the game, right? So I'm only wearing it for like 4 hours every Sunday, but I will not wash it. I'll drop it off the dry cleaners when the season's over. So you might think that's gross, but you know what? I have to keep riding it out at this point.
I like it.
Ron, what about you?
So I've got a few things. I don't know. I feel like as a Bills fan, you kind of have to have some degree of superstition. So one is, I'm same with you guys where I'm wearing my jersey. Even the way I treat my Josh Allen jersey, I treat it special. I make sure that it does not go in my dryer. I make sure it gets hung up. It's only worn on the days of the games, just to make sure we got the good juju going with it. The other thing, too, I realized I look back and I started doing a running streak where I have to run at least a mile every day. And I started that Thanksgiving Day, right? Guess who's been undefeated since then?
There you go.
Now we know the secret. Now we know why the Bills have been undefeated.
I mean, is it possible? I don't know. But you know what? I was going to stop on Saturday if the Bills lost, and I'm like, I got to keep going. And, so there's that. And then the other weird thing that I've kind of realized is that when I drink when I watch the Bills, Alex can attest to this. The Bills, they just step their game up a little bit. They go to the 150%, and he's seen it where I completely don't drink anything. And how is the performance?
It's not as good. They're lackluster out there. It's somehow you're channeling your liquor through the Buffalo Bills. And you specifically use it during, what is it, the offense or the defense?
It's offense. So the defense, they need seltzer water. But the offense, that's where I'm channeling the spirit of Poncho and all of the deceased Bills fans and helping to get the spirits to help push the team to victory.
So you hydrate when the defense is out there.
Yes.
And then you drink spirits when the offense is out there. And that's what's giving
that's what's helping us with each drive.
That's what's giving the fuel to Cole Beasley.
Yeah.
And Stephon Diggs.
I'm just thankful that in some ways the teams that we're facing are really trying to manage the clock because that's helped with my enjoyment of the game.
Say avoid the hangover with that offense defense regiment.
Yeah, it's the perfect mix, but it's just like what you need. So, and it's crazy because there's been a few times where I'll be like, all right, I'm gonna take an extra sip of, and it's not just like Labatt. I have to like go for something a little bit harder. And then when I do, all of a sudden it's like, oh, hey, we got a 101-yard touchdown that was off of a pick six.
Well, I was going to say, did you feel cheated when that happened? Because you were like, wait, I was playing defense, I was hydrating, and now the defense has got to go back out there. I don't get to drink in between.
I think that one I actually was drinking just to kind of help bring extra good juju. And it did happen.
So let's make sure we're all on the same page here. So you hydrate when the defense is out there, but if things are getting scary, like the opposing team is in the red zone, that's when you might start bringing the liquid courage out.
I see it as, you know what, I can't help but trying to help if it helps. So I'll drink a little bit of seltzer, and I'll also drink a little bit of the harder whiskey, and it works.
You got to be that 12th man.
I'm the 12th man.
Channeling all the way from Atlanta.
All the way. At the very least, you know what, I've kind of tried to go with this, but it doesn't seem to hold out, is at least as a fan, if the Bills don't perform, you know, you can at least say, well, I'm pretty drunk, so we're good. But it's like the Bills win, and you're just like, yeah.
Let me drink some more.
So,
yeah.
Right.
Yes.
Well, you either drink more out of celebration or you drink more out of despair.
It's more fun to drink.
Either way, you're good. Celebrations are so much better, though.
Yes.
Hey, speaking of when we'll be drinking next on Sunday, Eric, where are you going to be on Sunday? Are you going to be home? Are you going to be at your parents' place? Where are you going to be? And what are you going to be? What are you going to be eating?
Probably do my parents again. That's been my sisters or my parents. They live like around the corner from each other. We've been playing outdoor. We've been watching it outdoors actually at my parents' place, which has been nice. It's they have a nice setup going on in their garage with, you know, like one of those tabletop fires, and got cornhole going in the driveway. You know, it's been a lot of fun. And what we're eating, last time I checked, my mom, we used to do this all the time, especially when we didn't care about the Bills. Well, we cared about the Bills, but they were not great. So to make it more fun.
Low expectations.
To make it more fun at my parents' house, my mom would always plan a meal around the opposing team we were playing, right? So if we're playing Cincinnati, it's Skyline Chili. If we're playing Kansas City, I think I heard barbecue. I heard, and to me, that said to me, am I smoking a brisket on Sunday? I might be.
You better figure that out. That's some work.
Yeah. Like Alex knows, I did a pork butt for pulled pork on before the Colts game, and that was an all night affair. So I agree. I need to know. But that's the latest. I think we might be doing barbecue. But I also heard my brother-in-law say, "Hey, why don't we keep it buffalo?" And we're looking into getting some roast beef from Charlie the Butcher and doing some beef on weck. You get the au jus, you heat that up, and you kind of heat the meat in there, and you know.
Oh,
yeah,
I'm salivating.
Yes.
Well, so let me ask you this, because if I were your parents, or if I lived near, or if I lived in the greater Western New York area, because how close you live to Bar Bill, my favorite chicken wings, I would always say, hey, when you come over, I expect you to bring wings when you come. Do you get that a lot or no?
I don't. Which is nice because Bar Bill on a Bills day is like a 3-hour wait. You got to get your order in. They don't take it ahead of time, and I don't want to miss kickoff. You know what I mean? So, but no, that is my favorite wing place as well. But luckily, no one expects me to do that. They like Duff's well enough, and they live near Duff's, so that's where they get the wings from if I'm going there. Which is fine with me.
So what's your like ranking of wings, like your top 4 maybe places?
Bar Bill
and no wait. There's no wait. It's just ideal circumstances. You get the wings wherever you want. Where do you go?
So Bar Bill number 1 for sure for me. They're medium hot, and their honey butter Cajun barbecue wings are my favorite there.
And for the record, they're Josh Allen's favorite wings too.
Yes, they are. As they should be. They are phenomenal.
Yeah, you know, when he said that in an interview, I said, all right, he's our franchise quarterback. Everyone was saying it was this year when he threw 69%. No, for me, it was when he said, these are the real wings. I went, all right, let's sign him. Let's give him the long-term extension.
Yeah. And then, you know, I don't know if you guys ever heard of Sal's.
Yep.
They're different. They're not your traditional wing. They got they got a batter to them. Different, but really good. And it's like a bar in a neighborhood. Like you're walking down a suburban street, house, and then one of the houses happens to be a bar, which I just love. And it's a dive, and it's great. And the wings are giant. I don't even know if they're really wings because they're huge. I don't know how they exist. But I always liked Duff's is up there, but you got to eat them at Duff's. If you get them to go, they're not as good. Because they're swimming in sauce, and they're great when you're there and crispy, but you bring them home, it's not as good.
Well, Eric, for me, my favorite wings outside of Bar Bill are Gabriel's Gate on Allen Street.
Gabe's Gate, I was going to say, is in there too, top 5. And I honestly, so I've never had like Elmo's, I believe.
Yeah, that's in the University of Buffalo campus, right? That was Khalil Mack's favorite wings.
Yeah, so that's a lot of the UB guys' favorite wings, like Joe Licata and all that stuff. I know they talk about it. And I've never been lived near the area, so I've just never gotten them, but it's one I got to try for sure, because that's on a lot of people's top list. So
now that you've been back in Western New York for a couple of years now, the Bills have finally gotten consistently good. Do you miss living in enemy territory and going to Bills backer bars?
Well, they got consistently good because I came back, right? You know that.
I think so.
They've been good since I've been back. No, I do. I believe I've told you, Alex, plenty of times. I think my favorite way to watch the Bills is at a Bills backers bar. I think the passion and excitement, and you feel like you're like this little other group in the middle of people who don't get you. It's just, you can't beat it. I've been to a few Bills backers bars, and that feeling is just there. You just feel like we're the only one that get each other here, and let's go. I think it helps that when I was going to those places, the Bills weren't necessarily the best. So it's even more like everyone makes fun of us. Let's go Bills. So I miss it a lot. Everyone here is a Bills fan, right? So that's great too. But there's something about being away. It makes you appreciate the team in the area more, for sure, than I think people who have stayed here their whole life. I think it's something you don't get. Actually, Bulldog from WGR wrote something about that. If you haven't checked it out yet, you should. It's about like how his appreciation for the Bills grew when he was living in Connecticut, and how during the pandemic, it kind of feels like everyone kind of has that feeling. We're all out of town right now because we can't celebrate the way we would normally being in town. And I think it is a little bit of has the local people kind of understand that feeling that you might get when you're away and enjoying your team from afar.
People have been hearing all about this Bills Mafia. Is that something where you need to be part of an organized crime unit, or you need to be part of an organized donation unit, or what is the Bills Mafia for all of our listeners who don't know what it is?
If you don't know, you don't know. No, it's hard to define, because when Bills Mafia, the moniker, first started, I was actually like resistant to it. I don't know about any of you guys.
No, I was too.
I hate to say, I still think it's a stupid name, but I'm still not in love with it. But I love what it means now, and what it represents, and how it's become our fan base. It's just, it's the term the national media, everyone knows, is our fan base. So I've come to accept and love it. I love the good stuff that it how it started with bringing donation. What was the first thing that
the first one I remember was the Andy Dalton.
Yeah, but it was kind of a positive spin. But then Deadspin, I think, really were kind of the first ones, and Barstool later, to really take Bills Mafia and put it into these drunken idiots jumping through tables, lighting themselves on fire and stuff. So it definitely had its positives and negatives with the term. But I think recently, especially this year, it's really, and I think from Andy Dalton, especially from that point on, it's really kind of taken on a positive tone. I mean, there's still the idiots like, let's look at what Bills Mafia is doing now, jumping through tables and breaking their necks and crap like that. But I think the good outweighs the bad, and the bad is funny at times too. But sometimes it can be like, I think the 23-year-old me would have absolutely loved it, but the 34-year-old me is more, let's tone it down a bit, guys. Let's not be too much of a national embarrassment. But I think that embarrassment has gone away a lot with this past couple of years. And, you look at even just now, like the amount of money that what's the organization for Lamar Jackson that we donated a bunch of this money to? It's up to like 400.
Blessing backpacks.
Yeah, Blessing.
I believe is what it was.
Yeah, like that's awesome. Like someone on Twitter goes, "Hey, Bills Mafia, let's show our respect for Lamar. I hope he gets better, and let's donate to his favorite charity." 2 days later, it's like 400 grand to this charity, like in Louisville. That's amazing. That's crazy.
It is incredible, and I think I agree with you. I think when we first started hearing about the Bills Mafia, it was sort of a national joke of like, look at these bumpkins jumping through tables and lighting themselves on fire. And I was kind of actually insulted by it because I was like, hey, listen, there are Bills fans who are not like that. And so I think I was similar to you, Eric, where I was resistant to it at first because I didn't want to be grouped with that aspect.
Mm-hmm.
And also because I always laughed at it and always said to people, you know, that type of behavior, whether we like it or not, goes back way before when the rest of the country started finding out about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only reason now everyone is finding out about it was because of social media.
Oh, for sure.
But that drunken behavior had been going on for decades.
Oh my God. I was that. I was doing, when I had season tickets, when I was like in college and fresh out of college, I was drinking like an 18 on my own, funneling half that stuff. Like it was just a mess. The team wasn't very good, and we just loved the tailgate, and we got into some crazy stuff. So I get it. And you're right, social media was not around the way it is now, and so kind of skated by the national media on that. But yeah.
So kind of wrapping up here, Eric, but I'm really curious your take, being a lifelong Western New Yorker with the short stints in Austin. How important is a Super Bowl to the Buffalo community?
I mean, I don't think we know. We can speculate. I don't know what will happen to this town when we win. We will win one day, and if it's this year, amazing. If it's not, it's like we said, future is bright for this team, and oh my God, I don't think I could describe it.
You know, for me, Eric, you know, I'm sure you've seen the interview with Tim Russert, the former Meet the Press before he passed, and he was a diehard Buffalo Bills guy from South Buffalo, and you know, he lived in D.C. for a long time when he did Meet the Press, and he always said Dallas has so much going on for itself. You go up to New York, you go up to DC, all these major metropolitan areas, they have so many different forms of entertainment that on a random Tuesday night, Lady Gaga's in concert. You can go on Broadway. There's always so many different forms of entertainment, world-class museums. And then you look at Buffalo, and I mean this in a very positive way, but we have the Bills. That is our national identity.
Mm-hmm.
And so to me, I'm being biased here, but I think a Super Bowl would mean more to Buffalo than probably anywhere else in the country.
100%.
The only community that I could argue would enjoy it as much would be Green Bay, but they've already won it. Right?
Yeah,
if Green Bay hadn't won it before, then it would be on that same level. Maybe a very close second to Buffalo would be Cleveland, though, winning the Super Bowl.
But they had LeBron and they had that, so they got a taste. I know it's not the same as the Browns, I'm sure, for a lot of those people, but yeah, it would mean more here than anywhere. You're right, absolutely. And I can't wait to have the conversation one day with you about, well, now what? Because part of it is the journey to get this first Super Bowl, right?
I don't know what's going to happen afterwards.
I think a part of me will miss it. Well, I always think about this, like with the Patriots. Do they like football as much? Are they as into it? I think a lot of it for me is this journey to finally get there. Us against the world mentality. No one believes we can do it, and then we do it. Now what? So that'll be an interesting point that I 100% look forward to having, because it means that we're to that point. But yeah, I can't put it into words. I'm going to lose my mind. I will be a wreck. I'm sure be bawling my eyes out, not knowing what to say. I'm getting teary-eyed just thinking about it. So
I know I am too. And but the good news is, Eric, is I told you this. If the Buffalo Bills go to the Super Bowl, if they win this weekend, Ron and I are going to be in Buffalo. We're
going to be returning to the promised land.
We will be in Buffalo to witness, even if it's just from our Airbnb. We want to be a part of Western New York when that happens. There's nowhere else. To quote Marv Levy, where else would you rather be?
And right here, right now.
I love it. Yeah,
and we gotta have some great wings. So Bar Bill, if one of us has to line up 5 or 6 hours ahead of time to get those wings, we'll probably do it.
Hey man, I hope I get to see you guys in person in a few weeks. And
so
cheers the right way.
So one last question, Eric, and this has become sort of a tradition on our show now that we actually have guests. As a Bills fan, what is the craziest thing that you have seen with Bills fans?
But I am amazed, and this isn't crazy, but I am amazed at the amount of Bills fans anywhere I've been, the amount that there are. Like, it's incredible to me. I went to the Houston playoff game last year, and I saw kids from high school that I knew. I saw kids from the Austin Bills backers that I knew that now live in Colorado. Like, we travel, we're a community, and you recognize each other. Oh my God, I remember you from that New Orleans backers bar. Like, I've been to one time. It's just, I think that's the coolest thing. It might not be the craziest thing. I know being thrown up on at the Austin Bills backers bar by someone apparently you know, Ron. Just small world. It's just a small world, a small community, but somehow there's so many of us, and it's awesome. I think that's the coolest thing. I've been to Mexico on vacation. You know, you throw on your Bills hat, and sure enough, you'll meet 3 other Bills fans there. You know, it's. I think that's one of the coolest things about. It's not the craziest, but I think it's one of the coolest things for sure.
Well, Eric, I have to say it's been a pleasure to have you on this show. We've really appreciated it. We're excited to see what this weekend brings, and here's hoping it's another W for us. And I can only imagine what the city of Buffalo is going to do if we go to the big dance one more time. I'm excited. I'm really excited. Here's hoping we can do it. Go Bills!
Yes, thank you guys for having me, and go Bills.
Eric, thank you again so much, and we'll hopefully see each other in a couple weeks.
Yeah, can't wait.